We'll call to order the City of Douglasville City Council Legislative Work Session for today, which is February the 1st. Our invocation will be done by our own Maintenance and Sanitation Director, Mr. Greg Roberts, and after that, the Mayor Pro Tem will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand for the invocation.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Let's pray. Dear Lord, we come to you this evening. We thank you for allowing us to gather here as we have. Lord, you know all our hearts. You know our intents. You know everything that we think about, have thought about, or will think about. And I recognize you as being the God that you are. Lord, we pray that you would just touch our hearts tonight, that we would deal fairly and openly and honestly, not only before you, but before our fellow man and the very people that we serve here at the City of Douglasville. We thank you for our residents, our business owners, and just everyone that we come in contact with on a daily basis that we deal with. I pray that you would touch and keep your guiding hand on our public safety, police and fire. Lord, as they go out and they impart justice and try to keep us all safe. I pray that our hearts and minds would always be prayerful for those ladies and gentlemen that serve in those roles. And I thank you for our mayor and council and all the administrative staff and all the employees at the City of Douglasville. I know all of them. They all have a heart of service toward the people. And almost all of them have a heart of service toward you. And we thank you for that. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem and Mr. Gregg. We're going to pass the plate. Thank you for that prayer. It's a blessing. So our announcements for tonight, I have a presentation of a proclamation declaring February 16th, 2018 as Arbor Day in the City of Douglasville. And this will go to Ms. Chan Weeks, the Executive Director of Keep Douglasville Beautiful. I'll read the proclamation, and then I'll ask that the council members would come around to take a photo with Ms. Chan. It says, whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for planting of trees, and the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, lower our heating and cooling cost, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habits for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of businesses, and beautify our community. And trees, therefore, they are planted, and wherever the trees are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Therefore, now I, Rochelle Robinson, Mayor of the City of Douglasville, do hereby proclaim February 16th, 2018 as Arbor Day in the City of Douglasville, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands, and I further encourage all citizens to plant and care for our trees with gladdened hearts and promote the well-being of this and the future generations. Now, Ms. Chan, if you don't mind coming forward just to tell us about the festivities that we're going to have for Arbor Day.
Right. So Arbor Day in the state of Georgia is Friday, February 16th, and we are here in the city of Douglasville going to have an Arbor Day celebration the day before that on the 15th of February at Hunter Memorial Park, and it's going to be a most-a-day celebration. It'll start around 12 o'clock with a bonsai tree class. It's a beginning bonsai tree class, and that's open to participants, and there's information on the website on how to register for that, and there's other activities throughout the day, and arborists will be available to talk. We'll have some vendor booths. People can come around and ask a Master Gardener questions, talk to the arborists, just learn about the importance of trees and how they really are something that our community needs to really be behind and keep. So
Very good. Well, thank you so much, and thank you for everything that you do with Keep Douglasville Beautiful. We appreciate all of your efforts. And if the council members don't mind, let's give her a hand and then go around and take a pic with her. Thank you. All right. So, Mr. Gregg, you want to come up for the picture as well, since you're with Keep Douglasville Beautiful? Thank you, sir. Yes. There's another board member from Keep Douglasville Beautiful. Oh, there's my friend, Crystal. You come forward, please. And any other members from Keep Douglasville Beautiful, please come forward and take the picture with us. Thank you so much for that. Before we go into committee reports, I'll go over protocol for our legislative work session meeting so that we'll be all on one accord. I'd like to welcome you again to the City of Douglasville's legislative work session. This is a work session where agenda items are presented for discussion and no official action will be taken tonight. Official action will be taken on these items discussed tonight on Monday at 6 p.m. If the business you are here for is not listed as an agenda item, there will be ample time under the agenda item Comments from Citizens and Delegates section to discuss your business. Understand we have several citizens here from Leadership Douglas tonight, and you are certainly welcome to come forward during that section to address this if you would like to. And also, Ms. Crystal's here from our Citizens Academy, so for the City of Douglasville. So if you'd like to say anything at that time, you can come forward under the comments for citizens and delegates. There are a few protocol issues that I'd just like to present to you so that we'll be orderly tonight. I'll ask that you keep your comments and presentations on a professional level, dealing with the facts that are important for this governing body to make our decisions. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. You'll receive a warning from the chair. If you deviate from that requirement, a second deviation will result in a request for you to leave the chambers. Only one person speaking at a time, and we'll ask that there is a limit for your comments, and council members as well. Please do not applaud or react to speakers, speak from the audience, cheer, carry on conversations, or be disruptive in any way. The agenda items will be handled as follows. The committee chairperson will read the agenda item, then the person representing that agenda item or the applicant will make his or her way forward and present that information. Then the mayor and council members will possibly ask questions from the applicant to seek information. After that, the committee chair will ask for comments or statements from the audience. There is a maximum time of 30 minutes for those to speak in favor of the agenda item. The applicant presents at that time, and 30 minutes for each person group to speak in opposition for that agenda item. There's a 5-minute limitation for each person speaking. When you come to the podium, please provide your information to the city clerk, Ms. Vicki Ackerd. You should have filled out a form if you'd like to speak. Please give us your name and address for the record. Each person has one opportunity to speak on the item. This is not a question and answer format, so we'll just ask that you would present your comments. Please address your comments to the chair, not the members of the audience. And I would ask at this time, if you have electronic devices, if you would put those in silent mode or mute them, or so they won't be disruptive, and we'll hear a ringtone during the meeting. So we've covered all of those procedural issues, and now we will go into our agenda. The first agenda is Public Safety Committee, and that's chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
Madam Mayor, no business at this time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilman Davis. Community and Economic Development Committee, that's chaired by Councilmember Richard Siegel.
No business tonight, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on to Planning and Development Committee, that's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have several items tonight under Planning and Development. We'll begin with item A, consider a request for a revised final plat approval for Chick-fil-A Incorporated for the purpose of combining two tracts for a total of .957 acres at 5888 Fairburn Road in land lots 50 and 51, District 1, Section 5, Parcels 2 and 117. Application by John Newman with Geo Survey Limited. Good evening, sir. You must be Mr. John Newman.
Yes, sir. I'm John Newman. I'm the land surveyor for this project.
Would you give us your name and address for the record, please, sir?
My name is John Newman, for the record, and my address is 4233 Sturbridge Drive in Douglasville, Georgia.
Thank you very much, sir. Tell us about the project that you are bringing forward. For those of us that need to see this, that plat is a part of our package as one of the agenda attachments. It would be the second attachment, and their application is the first. So anything that you would want to?
I just want to say that the purpose of the plat is to take two existing parcels of land. Chick-fil-A purchased an adjacent piece of land, and together with their development of a new building. And the purpose of the plat is to take those two parcels, combine them into one, so they can get their building permit.
Okay. Does the council have any questions of this gentleman concerning the application and the combination of the two lots? For those that might not be familiar with it, this is the drive-in location at the corner of Durley and Fairburn Road that we have in times past already looked at development plans and facade, and I understand that they're going to remove the building and then expand it, and then that was the need to have more property. So this is the prior building, I believe, that housed the chiropractic office. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Are there any questions concerning this item?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I understand that both of these buildings both of these parcels lost some frontage to the Highway 92 project. So it made it difficult for both to exist
Yes.
as in the new world.
Yes.
So combining them actually makes a lot of sense for them. And the chiropractor is now operating out of a different location, so my wife will still be able to find her no problem. So that's all I have.
Good. Any other comment? Madam Mayor, any comment, question?
No, sir.
Okay. Hearing none, then if you'll come back on Monday night, Mr. Newman, we will take action on this item. Thank you very much. Well, I'm sorry that I did not ask. Was there anyone in the audience that might have had any comment or concern about this item before I go on? Just to be open with everyone, I think that would be proper. It is allowed, is that correct? Okay, just want to make sure. We're not holding a public hearing, we're just considering an item here. Okay, we'll go on to item B. Consider a request for revised plat approval for the Silverman Group for the purpose of relocating Wood Road and Bright Star Road right-of-way for 63.7 acres at 7550 and 7555 Wood Road in land lot 163, District 2, Section 5, parcels 12 and 21. Application by Jeff Mcdonald of Hughes Ray Company Incorporated. Let me back up just a minute, folks, just so everyone is familiar with what we're doing. Beginning in this year, the Planning and Development Committee is now going to be made up basically of the entire council, so that rather than having a separate Planning and Development Committee meeting on a Tuesday afternoon, we had decided that the entire council needs to see these reviews and review these items as a total group rather than a separate committee. So that's basically the reason for the difference. I believe it's a ploy by Madam Mayor that all of a sudden this committee has a lot more work to do, but we'll keep that to ourselves.
You can handle it.
I can see that this is not Mr. Jeff McDonald, but Mr. Ray, would you give us your name and address for the record?
Yep. Howard Ray, HRC Engineer, Surveyor, and Landscape Architecture, 6554 East Church Street, Douglasville, Georgia.
You all have before you the application and the revised final plat. Mr. Ray, tell us in layman's terms what you're doing so that we'll all understand it.
Okay, this is a continuation of I think last meeting where you guys abandoned the Wood Road. This basically just cleans up the parcels, moves the right-of-way, as well as it incorporates 2 tracts of property that the Silverman Group purchased. I believe it was the Wood tract and the Gonzalez tract along the frontage of Bright Star. Those 2 pieces of property were purchased in an effort to expand Bright Star Road and add the 3rd lane. So basically, this is just cleaning it up, combining those properties as well as shifting the right-of-way, and that's pretty much it.
So basically, we're doing this in steps as the abandonment has now been complete. Now you can then reconstruct and combine the final plat. Does it do anything? It appears to me on the plat that it seems to straighten out what was Wood Road, now what would be the entrance to the development. Is that correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. Do we have any questions or comments from council concerning this item? Do we have any questions or comments from the public concerning this item? Anything else, Mr. Ray?
No, sir.
Okay. If you'll come back on Monday night, we will take action on item B. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Item C, request approval of a development plan for St. Teresa's Catholic Church, Phase 1, youth building plans dated January 12, 2018 at 4274 Presley Mill Road, located Land Lot 54, District 1, Section 5, Parcel 142. Application by Cornerstone Site Consultants, LLC, Mr. Andrew Holoran. How are you this evening, sir?
Good. I am Todd Groves with Smith Bowen Architects. Andrew was unable to make it today, so I'll be subbing in for him. I'm
Okay.
the architect for the project.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Tell us about your project.
We had previously come in and got approval for the church and parish hall and the site. And what we are doing now is asking for a revision to that where we, outside of the loop road, we redesigned the property for a separate small Sunday school classroom building and what we would currently like to be building here in a youth building with a gymnasium in it. Before it was one larger educational and gymnasium building. So we're coming in trying to ask for the committee to consider allowing us to change the site plan to allow these 2 separate smaller buildings in there for this project. And then on the elevations, we've submitted those in for approval as well, where we've worked the elevations in order to meet the requirements of the facade ornaments for our zoning type, which there are the elevations, which I believe you all have copies of.
Yes, we have those online on our computers. Go ahead.
So we are asking for approval of our elevations so we can proceed with our building permits to proceed with the construction of the youth building.
Any question or comment? Yes, Madam Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We neglected to ask you to give your address for the record for the city clerk.
Sure. My name is Todd Groves. I live at 383 Freyer Drive in Marietta, Georgia.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gross. Mr. Chairman, I just want to ask about, I know there was considerable conversation and concerns from Mr. Abercrombie about water and all of those issues. With having 2 buildings, is that going to change anything about, as it relates to floodplains and all of those issues?
No, we have the site completely designed out. You can see on the drawing there's a large detention area, and we have already received a land disturbance permit, so we actually have all the stormwater. I think it's about 85 to 90% in place already to control for stormwater on the site.
And any soil erosion and all of that. So it does not change anything that you've gotten already approved from Water and Sewer Authority? No.
If anything, we've actually reduced our overall building area planned for the site by going to these 2 smaller buildings rather than one large building. We had far more classrooms and a larger gymnasium in the previous plan, where now we're at a much smaller building for both of those.
So the impervious surface and all of that with the parking, none of that?
Yes, we meet everything with our current land disturbance permit that we have. That land disturbance permit was based on this design.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I asked this question a couple weeks ago. I didn't get a clear answer. The entrance, the construction entrance, which is really the entrance to the old stables, same location, that three-way stop sign is kind of off, if you know what I mean. And I was just wondering if, when this is all said and done, if there's going to be any correction to that, so it's a...
Yes, we are correcting that. It will align with that three-way stop,
Right.
essentially becoming a four-way stop now at that intersection.
Good, thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chairman.
you, Coach Watts, for asking that question. That's a great point. Anyone else? Yes, Mr. Miller.
Thank you. The question, the structure of this building, is this pre-engineered or is it conventionally framed steel?
It is a pre-engineered building that we are dressing up.
Okay. Is the intent to use this as sort of the model for the remainder of the development on the site?
No, the rest of the buildings are actually going to be far more traditional, which we presented several years ago. It's a Gothic with brick and limestone detailing. This building being a youth center, we wanted to keep it a little bit more chic for the kids and the youth to use. So we are using similar materials that complement it. The copings and metal siding that we're using are going to be a dark bronze that will work with the Gothic design. The brick we're using is going to be the exact same brick we're going to use on the other buildings, and the stucco we're using is going to be a similar color to the brick.
And there's no floor plan, you didn't have, that's not in our purview anyway, but I'm just curious, is it primarily a gymnasium type side?
The majority of it is gymnasium. There is a small two-story component in the front, which is the lobby and bathrooms on the bottom floor, and then the upper floor is a youth room.
More durable.
Yes.
No further questions, thank you.
Any other questions from council? I did have a question. Just normally when we do a review like this is, as I said, it's a different setup, but normally I would ask Mr. Metler if everything is in order. Mr. Metler, as far as our new facade ordinance, I'm assuming that you have already reviewed this, and obviously they would pass any of these situations and any of these requirements on to you before it getting to this point. So.
As always, our review involves both the zoning and planning department as well as the building and development. So we've got a lot wise working on these now with the additional requirements that have been established.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. It appears to me that the new facade ordinance is now in place, and this would be an example of how we can use some different facade materials rather than simply using or just simply requiring brick and a lot of it from layman's terms. Okay, anything else? Any public comment concerning this item? Seeing none, then we will come back on Monday night, if you would, sir, and we'll take action on item C there. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Item D. Consider a request for plat approval for the purpose of subdividing into 106 lots, 39.83 acres at Highway 92 and Maroney Mill Road, and land lots 550 and 551, District 18, Section 3, Parcels 1 and 4, application by Lester Oliver, D.R. Horton, Incorporated. How are you this evening, sir?
Hello, I am not Lester Oliver. He could not join us tonight. My name is Kevin Spindell. My address is 260 Drummond Court, Atlanta, Georgia. I represent D.R. Horton on this project. And just to give you a little summation, well, first of all, Madam Mayor and Council, thank you very much for your time and your service. This project, I believe, has sat for about 15 years, and we have spent about 6 months trying to bring it up to standards. And I believe Mr. Metler and Mr. Roberts would tell you we've been maybe overly persistent, but we have done everything that was asked of us from both them and WSA, and we are here for your approval to start building homes, creating new homes for people.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Questions, comments from council concerning this application? You have the plat there before you as one of our attachments. No questions of council? All right, what about any public question concerning the item? Okay, hearing none. Yes, Madam Mayor, I'm sorry.
I apologize. No, sir, I thought about it after. Did you have to do anything differently from the expansion for Highway 92? And from when you initially came in 15 years ago and now it's starting to?
We did not.
Okay, great. So you didn't have to modify anything.
Yes, ma'am.
And you all met all the, we had some concerns from the past from DR Horton, so we've met all of those.
Yes,
We're
ma'am.
not going to have people coming to the council chambers packing it out after
I
it's.
believe, in all honesty, I believe what that was a previous regime from a Horton purchase.
Okay.
And those people are no longer with the company, to my knowledge, and you're dealing, I think Mr. Roberts and Mr. Mettler could attest to the kind of people that we are. I am not an employee, I represent the company, but I think we were trying to do the best and the right thing every single time.
Sorry, I didn't mean to offend you.
No,
It was
not
just based
quite.
on
You can
past
ask me anything, or
experience.
you could never offend me, trust me.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mettler, once again, I'll just give you the opportunity to make any comment that you might have concerning this application.
Come
if
on to
need
the
be.
mic, Mr. Mettler.
Yes, please.
The microphone.
Michael Mettler, 6695 Church Street, Douglasville, Georgia. This plat has been a long time in coming. It has been sitting in my office as a preliminary plat since I took over development, which was in 2013. And it's been collecting dust, and we finally have brought it before you. Right on its heels, within the next session or following, we'll have the provisional plat for Unit B of this project. So we'll see the completion of this and coming forward fairly quickly. We're excited about it, and we're looking forward to another explosion of residential property in our community.
Thank you, sir. Any questions council may have of Mr. Mettler? Anyone else that would like to speak concerning this item? Thank you, Mr. Mettler. We appreciate you coming in, sir, and if you will be back on Monday night, we'll take action on item D. Thank you very much. Okay, item E, request approval of a development plan for Silverman Bright Star Phase 3 new structure. Plans dated October 16, 2017 at 7555 Wood Road, located land lots 162 and 163, District 2, Section 5, Parcel 21. Application by Darrell Ray, RLA Hughes Ray Company Incorporated. Hello, Mr. Ray.
Thank you, sir. Howard Ray, HRC, Engineers, Surveyors, Landscape Architects, 6554 East Church Street, Douglasville 30134. Basically, again, this is just a continuation of some discussions we've had previously. This is the property that you guys granted the variance on the parking application. This is phase 3. This is just getting us moving. We've been working with Mike and WSA, so this is just one more step for us to begin construction of that parcel.
Takes a lot of steps on a project like this, doesn't it?
Yes, sir. A lot of moving parts, even on the ownership side.
Yes, sir. Questions, comments? Anyone have any question for Mr. Ray? Anyone in the audience have any question? Any comment from Mr. Mettler? Okay. Mr. Ray, if you all will come back on Monday night, we will take action on item E. Thank you very much, sir.
Y'all have a good
Appreciate
night.
it. Madam Mayor, that's all that we have under Planning and Development Committee tonight. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on now to Parks and Recreation Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight in Parks and Recreation.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on to Finance Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have one item tonight under Finance, adopt a resolution enacting a revised purchasing policy with revised provisions relating to the city manager's contract authority and state contract purchases. Ms. Jackson, you going to help us with that?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Chelsea Jackson, 6695 Church Street, Douglasville, Georgia, Operations Manager. There are 3 revisions to the purchasing policy that we are proposing tonight. The first one can be found on page 3 of your attachment. It talks about cooperative procurement. We changed that wording just so when you do cooperative procurement for federal, state, and county government, it already goes through a formal sealed bid process. So we want to ensure that if we do use any of those contracts, that we don't have to as a city to go back and do any kind of seal bid process since it already went through a federal, state, or local government's seal bid process. So that's the first change on page 3. The next change will reflect on page 4 under original equipment manufacturer purchases. If you can recall, on the latter part of last year, the city manager's signing authority was only $5,000. So once it changed in the charter, we just reflected this to change to state that anything above $25,000 will have to be approved by mayor and council. That's the second change. And the third change can be seen on page 9. And it also just states under awards, under the first bulletin, it says transactions greater than $25,000 shall be awarded by mayor and city council. Previously, it stated anything greater than $5,000.
Okay.
Questions?
Questions, comments from council? Yes.
I had a comment, Ms. Chelsea, on those pages with cooperative on 3, equipment 4, and the changes on 9. Usually you have the lines kind of, the original language and then what you're proposing or what you're taking out. We're going to remember? I mean,
yes,
why did you not do that this time?
The document that was uploaded to Granicus was uploaded in a Word document.
Okay.
And it reflects that, but on Granicus, if you upload it on in Word, it does not reflect those changes. But I can forward those changes out to you right now.
I mean, I remember I was taking notes, but usually we have them, right where we can see them on the.
Yes, ma'am. I can assure I'll go ahead and forward those to all council members. But it does reflect, like I said, it reflects the charter changes from $5,000 to $25,000. So anything in the purchasing policy that had previously stated it was $5,000, it now says $25,000.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Jackson. If there are no other questions? Okay. Madam Mayor, that's all that we have under finance tonight. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on to information technology. That is chaired by Councilmember Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have several items tonight under information technology. The first is to authorize the mayor to sign a Fifth Amendment to the agreement with New Singular Wireless PCS LLC to revise the equipment list for the rental of space on the city's communication tower and to raise the rental amount. We have 24 pages of riveting legalese you can refer to, and Karen will go ahead and explain to us the meaning of that.
Hi, good evening. Karen Knight, Communications Coordinator, City of Douglasville, 6695 Church Street. This is a Fifth Amendment with AT&T. They're going to change out some of their cellular equipment that's on our radio tower over here and replacing it with new, and we're going to raise the rent. That's the bottom line. It's pretty simple.
Eloquently put. Any questions or comments from the council or mayor? Questions or comments from the public? All right. The second item we have is to authorize the mayor to sign a Fifth Amendment to the agreement with T-Mobile South LLC, modifying the parties' agreement of July 10th, 1997 for lease of space on the city's communication tower to revise the equipment list and to increase the rent amount.
Same thing. T-Mobile's doing the same thing on the tower, just happened to come in at the same time, which is kind of nice. So we only have to do this once. But they'll be doing the same thing, changing out equipment, replacing it with new, and we're going to raise their rent.
Mr. Chairman, just out of curiosity, yes. Thank you, sir.
Councilman.
Just out of curiosity, how do you go about setting a rental rate on a cell tower, and then how do you go about raising it or graduating that rate over time? Is that because of extra space that they have on it, or is that just because of inflation?
Part of it's, I know it was established when the contracts were first established in the mid-90s, and then it has increased by either amendment changes or the CPI index. So over time, it's just increased.
Okay.
It's all built in the contract, even the amount that we charge them to change out the equipment.
Just curious. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional questions from the mayor or council? Any questions or comments from the public? Not. Moving on to the final item. Authorize the mayor to sign an agreement and order with Thomson Reuters Corporation to renew the city's purchase of published legal information.
Mr. Chairman.
There you are.
these folks are the ones who publish 2 of the 3 legal research tools that I use. So this is a renewal. It's the same publications we've been getting before. This year there'll be a 5% increase, but this is a 3-year contract.
Thank you, Counselor. Any questions or comments from the mayor or council? Any questions or comments from the public? Seeing none, I have no further business time. We will act on these items on Monday. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on to item 11, which is Maintenance and Sanitation Committee. The Vice Chair is Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have one item tonight under Maintenance and Sanitation. That's authorize the mayor to sign 2 purchase agreement quotes with Waste Equip LLC, one for the purchase of 314 recycle carts, 64-gallon, and 550 garbage carts, 64-gallon, at a price of $38,190, and one for 624 garbage carts, 96-gallon, for $31,227. Mr. Roberts, you going to help us to understand that?
Yes, and it's pretty simple and cut and dry. Greg Roberts, I'm not so simple and cut and dry, but this is. Greg Roberts, Director of the Maintenance and Sanitation Department, 8578 Club Drive, Douglasville, and our residents and citizens can email us at sanitation@douglasvillega.gov. That's a great way to communicate with us pretty much 24/7. These are residential garbage containers, as you read, Councilmember Adams. They're the larger ones, the 96-gallon, and then the smaller garbage one at 64 gallons, and then the blue recycle rolling bins with a lid. Those are 64-gallon as well. And then also, it wasn't spelled out there, but it is on the list with the 96-gallon containers. We're also purchasing with this as a part of the $38,190.90. We're getting 25 special event recycling containers that have a locking lid with fitted sizes, so you can only drop water bottles and certain recyclables in there. And we will try to, at many of our events, incorporate recycling into those events for cans and water bottles. And as some of you, all of you have at some point in time heard me say, even newly elect Councilmember Terry Miller, these toter containers, they're retrofit, they're for automated containers, and we've just steadily for the last several years been trying to switch those containers over. We're getting close to there, and so we're just systematically replacing the older containers with these so that all our containers look alike in the field.
And all of them are able to be used with the new equipment that we have.
Yes.
And this is just the name brand that you have, I'm assuming, Greg, that you have found to be the most applicable and the best value.
Yes, and as we know, sometimes as the elected officials, the flavor can change from time to time, but it was important to councils in the past that our containers be uniform down a single street, so you don't have a dark brown one, a gray one, a black one, a green one. They would all be in uniform, and so that we're still continuing to try to get to that uniform look and not have 10 or 12 different types of containers out in the field. That a recycling container for the city of Douglasville would all look alike, and the same with garbage.
Good point. Any question, comment? Mr. Siegel?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What is the average lifespan of these carts?
I will tell you that it can depend on our crews and our citizens. So I am a citizen, a resident of the city of Douglasville. I've had the same container for about 20 years. But we have known to have to replace some of the new containers. We do have mishaps with our employees where there might be some damage. They'll get backed over. Sometimes a car will hit one on a street. Sometimes they just go missing. But short of those things I mentioned, a garbage container should last every bit of 10 to 15 years, or in my case, a long time.
The one I have is 12 years old, and it's not as clean as when I got it, but its condition is like it was new. So
And the reason you will keep seeing these come up every year is we decided at some point that we wouldn't spend $500,000 at one time on them. We would just systematically buy them as we need them, and attrition just places them out. And I'll say, as I've said many times before, Ms. Hampton and Mr. Osborne before her, at any point in time, if you wanted to just make a mass switch, we could probably do that, but it would take us a while to get them switched out anyway. So this works for good attrition to just systematically, in other words, we have some older containers that do not look like these that that I propose to purchase, but they're still good. Like the one I have is not one of these newer ones, but there's no reason to toss it. It's a perfectly good container.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Yes. Anyone else? Yes, Coach.
Mr. Roberts, what happens to the ones that we circulate out? Do they get recycled, or what happens to those?
We break them down, and with most of our older containers, there's 3 different components. So the axle that holds the wheels, we have to separate them. So we do that with inmate and community service labor, not together, separately. So one day it may be an inmate group, and another time it may be community service workers, but we break those down, separate the lid, take the metal, we put the metals together, and we put the plastics together. We have a vendor that comes and purchases the plastic from us. They come and pick it up from us, but they want an entire tractor trailer load. So it takes a lot of space to store. For example, this 600 and whatever that number was for those 96 gallons, that's a tractor trailer load. And so we have to keep about 600, we have to get up to about that many, because they want to come and get a tractor trailer load, and I can't remember what they pay us. They're obviously not paying us $30 or $40 a piece for them. We're getting probably a couple of dollars a piece for them, but that's better than just taking them to the recycling center and just, it's going back into a resin reproduction process. They'll become garbage cans again.
Okay. Mr. Terry Miller?
Make sure I understand this correctly. Any resident can request a new garbage can at no charge if theirs is in bad enough shape?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And so, and from time to time, we do have a resident that will say their container's damaged. We'll go out and look at it, and we've come to the conclusion that their neighbor got a new one, they wanted a new one, and because there's nothing wrong with the container. So we just, my goal, and I try to express that to my folks, is we just want folks happy.
Does the opposite happen, where you'll find one that's in so bad condition that you'll just make a judgment call and replace it for them?
Oh, absolutely. I can tell you, if I see it, that is exactly what happened. It'll go in the back of my truck, and I'll bring it in and give the address to. But yes, now sometimes our workers in the field, because we don't want them. To your question, we don't want there was a time years ago that previous supervision would say, just tell them to just pack it up in the garbage truck, but we're not getting that dollar. and it's going into the garbage, and you don't want this type material going to landfill waste. This is not landfill waste. The container itself is not. And so we do want the residents to let us know when there's a damaged container. And we ask our employees to tip us off too, and for the most part they do. But
thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is very quick, Mr. Gregg. It's not exactly this agenda item, but it's related. Of course, you have gotten a call, and I, myself and several staff. So if you can just give a brief synopsis of what sanitation does with the receptacles. And the question was posed, do we pick up trash that falls out of the receptacles? Do we go through neighborhoods and pick up trash? And I know that we have several groups, my sorority being one, that's adopted Malone Road, Fairburn Road. We have community service workers that pick up on certain city streets, but not inside of the subdivision. Whatever's in the receptacle is what the city's responsible for. I already said it, but it's going to be official when it comes from you, so.
Well, No, it's official from all of us as a group. And
Yes,
so,
sir.
and that's actually, that is an extremely good and timely question and comment. So, Ms. Hampton, you'll just have to throw something and hit me to say stop. But and probably, and I'll take the blame for it, I've probably done somewhat of a poor job of taking some things to the next level, and I'll explain what that means. As we try to go to the automated truck, and we have tried to, we've tried to leave garbage really kind of simple for our residents. So I'm a resident. My wife's a resident. Me and my wife, we don't always agree about how to garbage and recycle. I know what's supposed to be done. She doesn't really always care what needs to be done. She wants it out of the house. Anybody watching on television, they are the exact same way. I don't care. I want it out of the house. And so we've tried to leave it as simple as possible. But as we continue to go toward and add another automated truck to this, we will get flyers out and try to recommend and ask our citizens to try and bag garbage. One of the things that I do at my house, and I know it will not necessarily work at everybody's house, especially if you have a lot of little kids, you're producing a lot of garbage that obviously doesn't get produced at my house anymore. But we all go to the grocery store. We go to Walmart. We go to Kroger and Publix, and if I missed one, I apologize, but all of those related stores, and we all leave with what we purchased in those plastic bags. If you come to my house, every restroom has one of those in the garbage can, even in the kitchen. Now, this works for me and my wife because we do not produce a lot of garbage, but we use those for a little kitchen under the pantry. There's just a container there. And so if it's fruits and vegetables and meat byproducts waste, that immediately gets to the garbage container outside, what can't go down the disposal. And so my point is, everything that goes in my garbage, I work here, I live here, there is no loose garbage or recycling that goes into any of my containers. Because I know on a windy day in March, or any windy day, when I get home, when that truck dumped it out, that loose paper that I threw in the container is going to be in mine in the neighbor's yard. But I can tell you it's not coming from my container because there's no loose garbage or recycling. But you see what I mean? We've tried to leave it simple for our residents to not try and enforce or make. I'm not a big enforcement kind of guy. I want people to be happy, and I'm going to work with what you give me to work with. And so, but one of the things, and this is an issue at every house, but I do recommend, to the extent that you can, bag all your garbage, bag all your recycling, because anything loose, if I take any one of these sheets of paper right here and wad it up and throw it in my recycle bin, it's just as likely to be wind blown across the yard as it is to get in the hopper of the truck, especially for the automated truck. Now, for those that are by television, on city TV or online that hear us mention automated, you can Google or YouTube automated garbage truck, and you can go and see an automated garbage truck if you've never seen one. But that's the one that's got the arm on it. You got the one driver in the truck. He's not physically having to get out and handle it. He is dumping the garbage this way. So when that container gets at this point right here, that loose paper that you've got in there, whether it's recycling or garbage, if the wind's blowing at least 8 miles an hour or more, and I'm just kind of picking that number because that's a breeze that some people's hair will blow in, that paper will blow too. Your hair won't blow in it. Mine won't either. Mine is put, promise. But, and so I hope I answered your question.
So, yes, sir, we're not going to go back and pick up individual papers. And so when the citizen wants us to come through the neighborhoods and pick up paper, we're not going to do that. It has to, whatever's in the recyclable bin is what we pick up.
And that can be difficult when there's such a request because we have to be extremely careful about going on private property because what an employee or one of those other two groups of people that I mentioned earlier, that's who's more than likely going to be sent to pick up the garbage. And that is not a tragedy, but that's a bad situation waiting to happen for those folks to be in somebody's backyard picking up paper that they thought blew from the garbage, and then the resident says they got something that wasn't the garbage. I mean, I've been here a long time. I've tagged all those bases right there. We get in a mess sometimes when we try to do too much, and I have been known to try and do too much.
But, and put the cherry on top, so when she compared the community workers, those are on city streets, not inside of subdivisions. Those are on Cave Springs, Chicago, Maroney, Fairburn, Chapel Hill. It's not inside of the subdivisions. So that's why you see those community workers picking up on city streets, but not in subdivisions.
We typically do not have to go in subdivisions. I'm not going to say we never have. It depends on the situation. Sometimes after a storm, we may have to. But even then, whether it's Rose Avenue or a street in Arbor Station or where any of you live, we're concentrating on what is the right-of-way mark. And we try to make all of our employees aware of where the right-of-way mark is. And we're just picking up along that right-of-way mark and from there and what's in the street, specifically staying off of private property.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know that was long, but she's been to get it cleared up.
Mr. Chair, thank you, Madam Mayor, for bringing that up. And thank you, Greg. I just have a comment. You mentioned that you said we don't pick up in private property, and I do understand that. I think there was an incident on Cave Springs Road. I received an email, and it was copied to me, and thank you so much for copying me. When it snowed, and there was a resident that called, and their trash had not been picked up for 3 days. Well, I think they normally get picked up on Tuesday or Wednesday, but because of the weather, they did not get picked up until the very next week. So they went Wednesday all the way through the weekend, and then the next week. And then by that time, there was trash everywhere. So you were able to address that, I'm assuming?
Well, I went to the subdivision. I will admit that we don't always see everything the same. So like I said earlier about my wife and I, she sees something, I don't. I see something, she doesn't. I could see bits and pieces of paper in places, but it was not what I was expecting it to be. I was expecting it to just be a lot of garbage and paper. And all I can tell you is if I had to do it myself, had it been the way I went thinking it would be, I would have handled it myself. I would have just personally taken care of it. But I didn't see enough. I didn't see but just little pieces, bits and pieces, which almost looks normal even on my street where I live. And so, but because we were not able to pick up the Wednesday and Thursday route, and I believe that was January 17th and 18th.
When the schools were closed.
Yeah, and because we weren't able, and you're right, it really turned into an extension of the holiday period that we thought we had just ended a couple of weeks earlier. It just, it was an extension of the holidays, and then when you think about it, Monday the 15th was Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and so we were really wide open trying to get garbage up, and then the snow and ice came.
Right.
And so, and on that note, I think we're all very apologetic. No one's happy that we weren't able to pick up the garbage, and I was affected by that as well.
Of course, we can't control nature, but we won't go on and on, but thank you for addressing that.
And I went by, it didn't seem like an excessive amount of trash to me either. I went through the subdivision and went by. Yeah, thanks.
Anyone else? Any public comment on this item? Okay. Since I'm the vice chair, I won't ask for this to be placed on the consent agenda, and hopefully Mr. Miller will be back on Monday to be able to discuss it further if he had any questions. Thank you, Mr. Roberts.
Thank you.
That's all that we have, Madam Mayor, under Maintenance and Sanitation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vice Chair. We'll move on to Transportation Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Dr. LaShawn Burdanley.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have 2 items. The first is to authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with the Georgia Department of Transportation to establish a new truck route to include detour routes to facilitate the early closing of the Mosley Street crossing, railroad crossing, in connection with the Highway 92 relocation project. Ms. Wright?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Michelle Wright, 6695 Church Street, Douglasville, Georgia. This is an agreement that Georgia Department of Transportation has asked us to go into with them because of the closing of the Mosley Street Railroad crossing. And part of it will be the Georgia Department of Transportation taking responsibility for repairs on the temporary designated truck route, Detour, and also looking at installing a traffic light at the intersection of Highway 92, Dallas Highway, and Malone Road, which will be much needed up in that area. And then looking at pavement core samples and conditions of it during this temporary truck route time period. And then also putting out signage and information to the public and navigation and those type of things in this agreement. The county has also been asked to do an MOU, a memorandum of understanding such as this, and to be looking at the same agreement for this. There is a portion of this truck route that is in the county.
Right, thank you. And before I go to my next item, just wanted to make sure, I know we had a lot of dilemma with the trucks. Have you heard, or I haven't seen too much of distraction like it was in the beginning?
We did have some reports, and our police was dispatched out there, and they did take a look at it, and so I think things have calmed down. We still need a little bit more work, such as these items and some better signage out there.
Right,
So
and
we're
just
looking
making sure we communicate with our school system. Of course, when that detour happened and Mosley Street crossing closed, there was no communication to our schools. So the buses didn't have any information, literally, until the very last second.
We did call, as soon as Georgia Department of Transportation notified us, I did go to the communication office, and Kelly Hunter did call the school system Department of Transportation. I was there when she spoke with them on the line to let them know that that it was being closed. Prior to that, in early mid-December, we sent out a notification that it was being closed, and we did include the school system. We did have a meeting on it, and the school system, 911, sheriff, police, fire, emergency management services, and city, county, communications, GDOT were all invited. However, the school system was unable to attend, but they have been kept notified.
That's good. Just as long as we're doing our part, that's great. The other item is to adopt a resolution to authorize a new truck route map to include detour routes to facilitate the early closing of the Mosley Street Railroad crossing in connection with the Highway 92 relocation project. That's right.
As you know, in 2017, we adopted a new resolution and a truck route map that is required by our Section 82 of our city ordinance. And because we are doing even though it's a temporary, we are doing a truck route, and it will have new roads. It will have the Malone Road, and then it will go into the Industrial Access Road and then Municipal Parkway. So we have added the portion, if you look at the map on there, we have added the portion, which is the two roads that are in the city, to the truck route map, and we will be adopting this new map, and then also the resolution to go along with it.
So, Ms. Wright, the date, February the 6th, that's just still temporary, or is that?
GDOT has stated that they closed it on January 23rd, and had stated that it was temporary. However, in speaking with GDOT, they are waiting, in order to close Mosley Street Railroad crossing, they had to designate it as a temporary until they got this, the truck routes and the memorandum of understanding signed by the city and the county. My understanding is, though, even though they're calling it temporary, it will be closed permanently. And it's just, I guess, the way that they do it in order to get the agreement signed. But it will not reopen until there'll be the underpass built on the new State Route 92 project. Mosley Street will not reopen, and that new one will be reopened.
Right, and it's just important, and thank you for elaborating on that. It's just important that I know that we, when we get information, that we can articulate it appropriately to our constituents. Okay? Are there any questions in regards to transportation, either one of these items? If they're not, I'd ask the mayor and council if these can be put on the consent agenda. All right, no other items, Madam Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Burdanley. We'll move on to Personnel and Organization Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Richard Siegel.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We do have one item, adopt a resolution enacting an internship program policy. I believe our HR director is going to guide us through this.
Mayor and Council, Tia Austin Bean, 6695 Church Street, Douglasville, Georgia, 30134. We are asking the mayor and council if we can implement a new internship program for the city of Douglasville. This program would be geared towards college students, college students and technical school students to have an opportunity to work for the city of Douglasville on an internship basis up to 8 weeks in various departments within the city to learn and just get experience working for a local government. We are asking that this program starts this year. Actually, we have already received a lot of interest and calls and emails from local university and college students already, so the buzz is out apparently, but we are excited about that, and we're excited to have students come into the city of Douglasville to learn about how local government works. So we are asking, and hopefully this year we'll be able to assess the program, and then if we have this opportunity next year, we'll be able to expound on the program even more. So we ask that you allow us to do this, if you will, and we'll be reporting to you on the progress of these students as they go throughout their work experience, and then at the end of the program, we'll hopefully to have them here before you as small presentation to what they've learned here at the city. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Comments or questions, Mayor and Council? Madam Mayor?
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to thank Ms. Tia Austin, the city manager and staff, for taking this initiative that I really was dear to my heart, to try to have young people, trying to implement millennials and have young people be part of the government and city government. So thank you so much for all the hard work that you've done and taking recommendations from the county, and of course we'll have our own, but I really appreciate you all doing it. I'm sure the council does as well in the community. So thank you so much for all of your time and making this come to fruition.
Yes, ma'am, you all are welcome.
Anyone else?
Mayor Pro Tem, I just have a question. Thank you for including technical schools. I just have a question in regards to the GPA. I know that with the technical schools entering, they have to maintain a 2.8, 2.5, 2.8. So if they maintain a 2.8 at a technical school, you have a 3.0 for the interns to be able to get in. So I just wanted to see if you were going to weigh that individually, if they were technical school, if they don't have a 3.0 and they're in technical school with the 2.8.
I would have to actually look into see what their, I guess, the highest GPA that they could receive there, and then see what is comparable to the college level. Yes.
Yeah, I know they have to maintain a 2.8 to be in technical school, but if you'll take that in consideration.
Yes, ma'am.
Otherwise, I don't have any other comments.
Miller, did you want to say anything about your son's experience as an intern with the county last year?
He had a fantastic experience. It was, what was so engaging about it is he got to experience virtually every single department in the county. So he had, and he's definitely a budding future politician. I don't know why, but I'm trying to advise him away from the field. But no, it really was a great experience, not just for him, for all the interns who participated in that, because they got to see the inner workings, for better or for worse, of each of the departments. And I think it's a valuable experience for anyone at that age, especially, he was the youngest in that program. And then there were several at the college level that who were definitely looking at pursuing careers either in public service or politics, but for the opportunity to get that kind of a learning experience is unparalleled. So this is fantastic. We're going to do something similar.
Yes, sir. And I have actually facilitated these types of programs for several years. It's a joy to be able to each time take away something and expound on it for the next time, and bringing it here for Douglasville. You know, we're just excited in HR to be able to do that. So again, we will be reporting the progress and how the program is moving along. If there's any recommendations or any suggestions that you all have as well, we'd be happy to take those into consideration as well.
Of course, we have already discussed this in committee, so if there's no objections, I'd like to place this on the consent agenda for Monday. That's all we have, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. We'll move on to Ordinance and Inter-Governmental Committee. The Vice Chair is Councilmember Dr. LaShawn Danley.
No items, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Education and Training Committee, my Councilman Samuel Davis.
No items at this time, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Communications Committee, Councilman Samuel Davis.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Mayor, I have no business, but I do want to announce that this month Black History program has been running. It's on cable channel 22, and you can wake up anytime during the night, and you will. I have some viewers to tell me they woke up and saw us interviewing again. I also visit the museum on yesterday, and if you will, please go by and visit the museum. You're going to be really surprised how they have the history set up, and they have a Black History area set up. Also, Stewart Middle School has, we set up Stewart Middle School on yesterday, and if you visit the Hall of Fame, you'll see each of your pictures on the wall. So take time out this month and visit the locations. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Councilman Davis. I'll open the floor to other business from council members. Okay, well, I have a lot, so I'll go through mine really quickly. I wanted to congratulate two council members at the Georgia Municipal Association Mayor's Training Day that we had a couple of weeks ago that received certifications, and that was Council Member Chris Watts and Mayor Pro Tem Richard Siegel. So if we can please give them a hand for their accomplishments. Thank you so much. I serve on the GMA Training Board, and that was a great honor to have two of my council members receive that award. I also wanted to thank the council members and staff for all of the support and for taking time out to participate in the Mayor and Council Retreat. And our legal staff as well was able to help us get some initiatives for 2018 and continue to mark off those goals. So thank you for your time. I know it was well spent, and it was a lot of time taking out 2 days after just coming from the GMA conference. So I really appreciate that. And then I wanted to announce Councilmember LaShawn Danley is having her chat and chew or listening session? Oh, together, and that is next Tuesday. Is that the 7th? At the Blue Rose Bistro, which is downtown in the Main Street area, on Main Street. So we just open that up for citizens to please participate and attend. And I wanted to thank staff and Ms. Chelsea Jackson especially for the second annual career fair that was held today. Her and I'm sure Aaron put a lot of work in as well. But it was here at the conference center, the jobs fair. We had 14 vendors. And part of our collaboration was with city, county government, West Georgia Technical College, Georgia Highland, Mercer University, the Development Authority, Proof of the Pudding, and we really appreciate those sponsors. And Silverline, actually, Howard Ray was here, but we had those 14 vendors that had jobs today for citizens. So that's going to be held once a quarter. And we'll have, the next one will be in May, and they will be housed at the county courthouse. So just trying to work with the Development Authority and all of the chamber and everyone together so that we can put our efforts together and support the community. I know our jobless rate or unemployment rate is lower than the state, but we still have people in the community that need employment, and we would like to be one of those avenues to help them secure that. So thank you so much again, Ms. Chelsea and all the staff and city manager for what you all have done with the career fair. All right, so any other business from council members? Okay, we'll go on city attorney, Mr. Joel Dotson.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joel. Chief Assistant City Attorney, Ms. Susan Littlefield.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Attorney Littlefield. Chief of Police, that isn't the chief, that's my deputy. Hey, Ms. Sue Ann.
No business, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. City Manager, Ms. Marsha Hampton.
The only thing I'll add, Mayor and Council, is that an official document, including your goals for 2018 that you've established, will be emailed out to you tomorrow, along with evaluations from the retreat.
Very good. Thank you so much. We're going to open the floor for comments from citizens and delegates. I wanted to thank again, we have members here that would participate in our Citizens Academy, our second class, and our own Mayor Pro Tem, Councilmember Richard Siegel, is in the Police Academy for the City of Douglasville. He started on Tuesday, so he's trying to be the star student. But at any rate, now we'll open the floor for comments from citizens and delegates, and if anyone has sustained this long meeting and you're here from Leadership Douglas and you'd like to address us, we'd love to hear from you. It's Miss Ike. I'm just calling you out, right? But you can have a delegation come forward and address us, and we'd love to hear from you. Welcome. Please give us your name and address for the record.
Emily Leitner, 8652 Campbellton Street, Douglasville, Georgia, 30134.
Great.
Hi, I'm Kimmy Yan. I'm the community manager at Youth Villages in our harbor, so 4685 Dorset Shoals Road in Douglasville.
Oh, great. Youth Villages, great.
Ike Lee, catering sales manager, Proof of the Pudding. My address is 8817 Lake Crest Way, Union City, Georgia.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Ike and Proof of the Pudding, for providing lunch today for folks that came in to look for jobs. We appreciate your support.
Well, thank y'all for letting us come here tonight and speak with you. As you know, the Douglas County Chamber Leadership Douglas program has been educating leaders and building community since 1989. As part of the Douglas County Chamber of Commerce Leadership Douglas program, each class chooses a service project to give back to the community. This year's class has chosen to provide a mural in downtown Douglasville to beautify the area, to provide an attraction and photo opportunity for residents and tourists, to inspire the community, and to be a gift that Douglasville can enjoy for years to come. Through a survey that we sent to the constituents that participated in the downtown master plan meetings, the Leadership Douglas class identified that almost unanimously everybody wanted this mural to happen in Douglasville. And also that a bright, innovative mural incorporating historic aspects of Douglasville, such as the Hydrangea Festival, the booming film industry that is coming to our community, the railroad tracks, and many other popular attractions in history, would be ideal for a community mural. After narrowing down the artist, we sent out an RFP out with partnership with the Cultural Arts Council, and we narrowed it down to one artist individually, and his name is Mr. Jeff Riggin, was selected to complete the design. We have packets for you, and it has his resume included and pictures of his work, and he's done things from Nickelodeon Studios, Universal Studios, Cinnabar Productions, City of Hateville, which is really well known for their art murals in their city, and a very competent artist, and has painted numerous murals across the Southeast. So you'll be able to see those in the packets that we brought to you for tonight. The location of the mural that is on the side of the building at Fourth Time Around Antiques, located at 6643 Church Street in downtown Douglasville, and we have attached a picture of that as well, is the wall that we're looking at to implement this art mural. The action plan to complete this project is to begin as soon as possible. The mural will be completed hopefully by the end of April of 2018. Then the Leadership Douglas class of 2018 would like to have an unveiling reception and invite the community to see this beautiful piece of artwork that has been created, which would take place in May. And at this time, I would like to ask Kimmy to speak on the next topic.
So we wanted to tell you a little bit about the cost of the muralist and the supplies necessary to complete the project are anticipated to be about $2,500. The Leadership Douglas class of 2018 is responsible for the cost of the proposed project and will facilitate fundraising efforts to complete the project. We will also take the responsibility of taking on the cost for the unveiling event so that we can share it with the community, which will hopefully be in May of 2018. Weather permitting, the artist has said that it should take about 7 days to complete the project. The long-term maintenance of the mural is anticipated to take place annually, and the projected cost is estimated at about $300 per year. So we are hopeful to include that in our fundraising goal as well. and to be able to raise an additional $1,200 to provide for the maintenance of the mural for at least the next 4 years. We did do some due diligence work, and so one of the things we wanted to ask was for the City Council's consideration for the Leadership Douglas class to request a variance to the city's ordinance of the historic district, which is actually section 3.73.04. Under the historic district, section D, under prohibited signs, it's number 5, and it states, let's see, that signs painted directly on the exterior walls of a building or structure, not including graphic designs, it's under the prohibited section. So we just wanted to make sure that we included that as part of the project, because we were a little concerned about that. But we do believe that the art mural will not only beautify the area, but also benefit downtown Douglasville. We believe that the revitalization presented, it's been a long day, y'all, throughout the downtown master plan coincides with this project and will assist us with attracting visitors and helping stimulate the economic development of downtown and the city of Douglasville. So we appreciate your time and thank you very much for allowing us to come and speak with you today and propose the mural.
Thank you. I had a couple of comments. One, I guess we'll talk with building and with legal to see about waivers. And I know we have, there's a Coca-Cola mural, isn't it, on Campbellton? And
I'm probably going to point these folks in a different direction. I don't think y'all can grant a variance for a prohibited sign, but I would encourage them to seek an interpretation of the definition of sign. I think they can be accommodated.
Okay, great. And the other one is, this is very timely because I had a request from the Douglas County International Baccalaureate Program. There were some students, some art students there, and they wanted to do a mural. And they're juniors and seniors in the IB program, and a lot of them have their specialty, that 6th subject is art. A lot of, maybe 2 or 3 are thinking about SCAD and Pixar and all of that. My daughter happens to be one of them. So they have to do so many hours in the community, and they asked if there was someone doing a mural. So would it be okay for me to have, is there someone I can submit those names to, and maybe they can hold the paintbrush or do a stroke or something with Mr. Riggins?
Absolutely, we'd be happy to work with them.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Open it up to council members for any comments.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I'm excited about this.
Me too.
Assuming that I like what the mural looks like, I'm sure I will. But this is something that we definitely need in our community, a project that people can get excited about, that people can come and stand there, take pictures, take selfies in front of. I think this was a great idea, and whatever we can do to make it happen, you got my support. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Just a comment. How many surveys did you collect in regards to the mural? I think I know I received one. How many did you?
We received 25 back.
That's it? Oh, wow.
But I've heard about arts for a long time. We actually have a festival like Chili Cook-Off for arts. So it's really a growing phase, and that's part of what they say for GMA cities is to have an arts district. So this will help us to kind of kick that off, to have an arts district downtown.
Did all the council members
Public
get to
art.
participate in the survey?
I don't know that I received one. If I received one, I did. I just don't know.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, could I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Ladies, will you give us the location that you're proposing for this again?
Yes, it's 6643 Church Street, which is the 4th time around Antiques Building across from Regions Bank.
Be on the west wall of that building, which would be adjacent to the parking area that the city owns. Is that correct? Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Good idea. Good spot.
And maybe in between the Smith Dabbs building, that little alleyway that looks like a bistro, we can look at that next.
Hopefully, this will be the first of several public art projects in downtown and throughout the city.
Yes, sir. Any other comments from council members? Yes, sir, Councilman Miller.
Madam Mayor, I had the honor of participating this afternoon in a table discussion of the importance of arts in the communities. You had somebody there as well with the county, because the county is, of course, recognizing February as, I forget what exactly they're calling it. But
Arts, Culture, and Humanities Month.
what she said. And the timing is great because, as Madam Mayor and I have talked about this, of elevating arts in this community. If we can make Douglasville known for the arts, that really can put us on the map in a number of different ways. And so it's exciting that the timing is right. I think, you know, in especially in context with a lot of the movie and the TV industry that's suddenly discovered Douglasville as well. I think, you know, there's definitely a bright future for the arts in this community, and I thank you for taking the initiative of doing this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time. Do we have any additional comments from the citizens that are here this evening? We have a police officer. Oh, someone is pointing you out, Mr. Robinson. Do you have any comments? Oh, he's looking at his watch. Okay. Staff reports. We have a staff report announcing the upcoming community and development services events. And so the chair is Councilman Siegel, but Ms. Chelsea Jackson.
Good afternoon again, Mayor and Council. Chelsea Jackson, 6695 Church Street, Operations Manager. Just have a few upcoming events that I want to announce. The first is Downtown Love. It's the second year for Downtown Love that the Main Street Douglasville program is doing. This year, which is different from last year, this year they're giving out $500, one to the individual recipient who wins and one to the actual business. It's 6 easy steps to participate in Downtown Love. First, you just need a handy dandy flyer that has the attachment to the bottom, and you shop at an eligible business in the downtown district. The flyer has the eligible business. The receipt has to be between February 1st and the 28th. Once you go there, you shop, you submit your receipt and the bottom of the form to the Douglasville Main Street office, which is currently located at the Douglasville Chamber. After that, you'll be instantly entered, and on March 2nd on Facebook Live, they will announce the winner. They'll announce the winner, and that's one of the first programs for the upcoming quarter. Next, we'll have the Douglasville Behind the Veil Bridal Show, which is February 18th from 2 to 5 p.m. at the Douglasville Conference Center. 44 vendors are expected to attend with an attendance of over 300 people. And then another event that'll be coming up is Georgia Cities Week. This year, it'll be called Cities in the Spotlight. It'll be held April 22nd through the 28th. So be on the lookout for information for Georgia Cities Week coming up.
What's the theme this year, Chelsea?
Cities in the Spotlight.
Cities in the Spotlight. Okay. And the Downtown Love and the wedding is in connection with Valentine's Day, correct?
Yes, Downtown Love, they have it in February because of Valentine's Day. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And the dates for that is February 1st through the 28th to purchase any eligible items at a downtown business.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Any
Question,
comments?
Madam Mayor, if
Yes.
I might. Ms. Jackson, is this equivalent to what we had last year with the restaurants where you came in and you dined in the restaurant and then you turned in, and each time that you did that, you worked through the process? Is there anything, any responsibility that the business has? Because we did that last year, and sometimes the business may not have been aware of what they needed to do to make sure that our entrant was actually entered. So this time we're not leaving anything with the merchant. We're carrying it to the Main Street office, correct?
Correct. All you have to do is make sure you have your receipt printed with the business and then take it to the Douglasville Main Street office.
Okay, a little different. Good idea.
And Main
Good idea.
Street is
Look
at the
forward to it.
chamber.
Mhm.
They're temporarily housed at the chamber
Thank
because we're doing renovations.
To the Welcome Center, yes.
Yes, to the Welcome Center. So if citizens are thinking they're going to the Welcome Center, it's,
Douglas County Chamber is where the Main Street office is currently located.
yes, ma'am. Any other comments from council members? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other staff reports? Thank you. Not seeing anything else and not having any other business, this meeting is adjourned.